have a special guest right now. It's Joe Strauss. Of course, no introduction needed. We're broadcasting live from New Beginnings once again, IFCO-TV. That's what this is, Joe. And this is great technology. We're able to bring speakers anywhere in the world to you at home. And so if you have any questions for Joe Strauss, we're going to ask a couple of questions, just have a conversation, but get them through your chat box or Twitter feed, which is #IFCO. Okay, Joe, so great New Beginnings so far. I've been here since Thursday, and you're here every single time. I've seen you speak a number of times, and I really love when you talk about chiropractic because it's coming from the heart, it's pure, and I know you've been practicing a long time. You've been around Reggie Gold a lot, and I love when I hear those conversations. Can you share with some of the viewers what it was like to just work a little bit with Reggie Gold, and what was that experience like?
Actually, I worked with Reggie, so to speak, as a student. I was a chiropractic student at Columbia Institute in 1964, so that was my first contact with Reggie, and he was the head of the philosophy department, and he taught chiropractic philosophy. So my first experience was sitting in the classroom with 95 other students, hearing this guy. He was not the flamboyant person that he became later on, but he definitely was dynamic, and he definitely had the message down clear even in those days. So it was a joy to sit there. Most of what he said, I didn't have any idea what he was talking about, even though I had come from a chiropractic family. I had never experienced an understanding of concepts like innate intelligence and universal intelligence. So it was my first exposure to that, and needless to say, it took a little while for it to get through my head. In fact, I often think that he just let me slide through that first semester, but by the second semester, I finally began to grasp what he was saying.
Joe, did you ever used to go up to his Spring Valley when they had the meetings, the monthly meetings? I know a lot of great chiropractors came out of those events.
Actually, my class was. He started out inviting the students to come up, and my class was the first class that he invited. I think was because it was a large class. So I went up to the very first meeting, and in fact. Have an interesting anecdote. The first meeting was for the class, and I didn't know how to get there. It was up in Spring Valley in Rockland County, New York, and so I left a couple hours earlier than I needed to, and I took my then girlfriend with me, and I had definitely decided that unless she understood what chiropractic was, I was not going to carry our relationship on any further. So she traveled up there with me. She was a RN, and about the best I could get her to agree was that chiropractors had their place. And so we went up there. We ended up getting there 2 hours early, and we talked to Reggie and Irene for those 2 hours before the rest of the class arrived. And between that 2 hours and there were just the four of us, and then the time when the rest of the class came to his house, my wife got, or my girlfriend got a real good understanding of chiropractic. And on the way home, she said, "I can't understand how the medical profession is so far off in their understanding of life and health." And so at that particular point, I was convinced that I had made a good choice, and we've been married and together for 47 years now. So actually, I tell people I owe I not only my chiropractic understanding to Reggie, but I also owe my marriage to Reggie.
One of the reasons why I brought that up, Joe, of course, everyone knows Joe's a phenomenal author, and one of my favorite books that you've written was The Reggie, How to Keep It Simple.
Yeah.
And so whenever I sort of need to get uplifted and there's not a seminar around, I just crack open the book and read some of the stories that you wrote about Reggie and his life going through, and that just is inspiring. And so that's one of my favorite chiropractic books of all time. Now, how did that come about? Why did you write that book? What was the reason behind it?
I guess Reggie and I were on a program in New Orleans a number of years ago, and I had spoken to my associate, I guess a little before that, and said, I really would like to write Reggie's life story. And I said, do you think that he'd let me do it? By that time, I think I had about 5 or 6 books written, and she said, well, why don't you ask him? So this seemed like an appropriate time, and we had just finished speaking for the day, and we were actually on the elevator going back to our rooms, and I said, Reg, I'd like to ask you something. What do you think about the idea of me writing your life story? Would you give that some thought? And he said, yeah, I'll give that some thought. And about 2 floors later, he said, I've given it some thought. I'd like you to do that. So we made arrangements to get together. At that time, he lived about an hour from me. I lived in north of Philadelphia, and he lived pretty close to the city. So we made arrangements for me to meet with him about every other week. And so I'd meet every other week. I'd tape our conversations, and I'd take some notes, and then I'd come back and I would write a few chapters of his life story. So it was kind of an interesting experience.
Pretty
yeah.
We're with Joe Strauss, author of the Blue Books. I'm not sure exactly how many books you've written. Could you share with everybody how many books you've written?
I think I'm up to about 21 books right now.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm still working on it. I have a couple more that'll be out in the next couple of weeks.
When I was at my field chiropractor, I call it my field chiropractor office before I even went to chiropractic school, I started reading your chiropractic philosophy book. And I was talking with, it was Bob Berkowitz, and I was talking with him, this book makes pretty good sense. And he was like, oh, okay, well, ask me some questions about it. And so we were interacting that way, and that was one of the first introductions to chiropractic that I had, was reading your Blue Book, the chiropractic philosophy.
That was my first book.
Yeah.
And I just that book actually I wrote because there hadn't been a chiropractic philosophy text written since 1927, and I thought that maybe we need something maybe a little more up to date. And in the chiropractic textbook, which is Stevenson's book, which is a great text, and I used it in chiropractic school, and that's what Reggie required us to read as far as our text. But I felt after from 1927 to 1964, it was time that somebody wrote another one, just kind of updating it a little bit, and so.
Okay,
good. So I wrote one that kind of followed the curriculum when I was teaching in the chiropractic college, and I felt that that you could get all of that information out of Stevenson's, but it was just here and there, and it was not presented in a systematic manner. So that's why I decided to write that book.
Yeah, how is what you wrote with the Blue Books different than what we hear with the Green Books? Not better or worse, just how is it different? It's different.
Well, I think the B.J. Palmer was just such a genius that sometimes he was like way past us in his thinking, and people tell me that mine are the Green Books made simple, and that's always been my objective, and I guess I got that from Reggie, the fact that he made the message simple, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. I've heard a speaker once say, put the put the cookies on the bottom shelf.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I keep in mind when I write something is are people going to be able to
remember my days at Sherman when I was in the back of the class, and it wasn't such a great class. Not that it wasn't great, but I would crack open one of the blue books and just sit there and read it and kind of absorb the different messages. And I'm not advocating that students, you need to learn what you need to learn, but that's something that I did when I was at Sherman, and it just triggers my memories. But what was special about Sherman? They're hosting our event here at New Beginnings. So what's something special about Sherman that you remember?
Well, I was there almost from the beginning with Sherman for their first Lyceum. And we were just so excited that now there was a school that was going to teach chiropractic. Many of the other schools had kind of drifted away in what they were teaching, and we were just really thrilled with the idea that there was a school that was going to teach chiropractic the way B.J. Palmer developed it, and that it was going to reflect the philosophy that we had grasped or understood.
Hello, Bryn. Bryn, co-host IFCO-TV, is rejoining us again.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
She went to go listen to a speaker that she could not miss out on the other side of New Beginnings.
But I'm excited you're here.
Yeah,
Hi, Joe.
so we're chatting with Joe. We were just talking about Blue Books and Sherman College. And Joe, for the folks at home who might not know, how can they get a hold of one of your Blue Books? Where can they go?
Well, I would think the first thing they would do would be to get onto my blog, which is www.ChiropracticOutsideTheBox. One long word, ChiropracticOutsideTheBox.com. There they can join into conversations. I usually post about three times a week on there, and we have interactive comments. And then there's also a products page in which they can order any of the books or any of the materials that we sell, which many of it is books and CDs and other educational materials, both for the chiropractor and for the chiropractor to use in the office.
Perfect. Bryn, did you have a question?
Yeah, no, not a question, but to just tie into that, another great way to get a hold of Blue Books I found was just to come and visit you in your office. When I was a student, I just loved visiting chiropractors all over the place, and I'm sure that's what students should be doing, seeing all these offices. And Joe's office to see is just fantastic. I don't know if you remember when we came to your office and you showed us all around, then we went into the basement where all the books were stored and all that, and I got my entire set of Blue Books signed by you. Got them right there. Nice. So that's getting the Blue Books from the source. Right. So that's another way of getting your books, right?
So where's the office?
Well, the office is in Levittown, Pennsylvania, a little north of Philadelphia, and actually I'm only going to be there for another 4 weeks, and then I'm changing my thrust. I'm just going to be doing some writing and maybe travel around, do a little speaking.
Perfect.
And to hopefully educate students and chiropractors with.
I think Judy Campanelle is taking over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Judy will be taking over on the 15th of May. That's my last day.
With your brother.
My brother, and I think she feels like that it will take another person to replace me, but I think she's fully capable of doing it, but it just depends on how many hours she wants to work, and she says that she's not going to work as many hours as I did, but she has a lot of other responsibilities with the IFCO and with other organizations that she's involved in. So I think that she'll be doing some other things, and I'll be about an hour and a half away, and she's already plugged me into.
So the office is going to stay the same, run.
Yeah, everything's going to stay the same,
yep.
And I expect her to continue to make it grow and see and serve the community like we've been doing for 46 years. She's been with me for 21 years.
And you've been practicing for 46 years.
Yes.
So that must be a big, huge thing to to think in 4 weeks from now.
Decision.
Yes, yes, it is. And I imagine There'll probably be a few tears. There's already been a few tears from the practice members who've been with me for many, many years, and some of them have shed a few tears knowing I'm gone. But Judy does just a fantastic job, and after being with me for 21 years, she's ready.
You're not getting out of chiropractic, you're staying in chiropractic,
Yes,
just moving to another area to focus.
Exactly.
So that's what's going to be fun and great. I'm excited to see what comes next when you have total mind to focus on this next project. And I know a couple of ideas that you shared with me, and so that will be coming through.
Yeah, I've got some things. I want to stay in chiropractic and want to make his contribution as long as I'm able to. And so we'll be bringing up some new ideas. And with the internet now, there's just so many more opportunities to present chiropractic to the world.
Joe, thanks so much for stopping by. This was a spur of the moment type of thing, but it was a great conversation. I'm so glad that you came by and shared some chiropractic with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope the rest of your day goes well.
Oh, it's going to go great. Yep. Thanks.